Hello, I am Clayton, your personal reviewer. Yeah, I'm not going to do that the entire time, but I did want to do a Baymax impression, especially since his new short series is now available on Disney Plus. Now, for those who don't know my opinion regarding Big Hero 6, the 2014 animated film, I actually think it's pretty good. It's the first Disney animated film that tried to essentially be like a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, which makes sense as the original Big Hero 6 were a bunch of Marvel characters, though obscure ones, that were reworked for the sake of an animated film. And honestly, I do appreciate a lot of the characters from that film. I like the story of Hiro Hamada. I like the city of San Francisco. That's like if San Francisco was taken over by Nintendo as opposed to Google. And I generally like a lot of the side characters throughout the film, like Go-Go, Honey, Lemon, Wasabi, Fred. Yeah, I happen to really like it as just a fun little Marvel film that happens to also be a Disney animated film. It's for what it is, I thought it was a fun time. But easily the character that stood out the most in the film was Baymax, the personal healthcare robot that voiced by Scott Adst. And when it comes to the series, made 8 years after the original film, it's generally more of the same when it comes to Baymax's appeal. It's basically a series of shorts that all revolve around a similar subject matter. Basically, someone in San Francisco gets injured or has to deal with a health problem in some way, and Baymax happens to help them in the clumsy robotic way that he always does. And it's basically done for various patients until one episode where he happens to run out of batteries while trying to assist a cat. And the patients have to work together to save Baymax before he happens to be destroyed because he ends up in the middle of a building that's ready to be demolished. And that's kind of the whole series. Every short is about 8 to 9 minutes long when it comes to its content, and that's from the intro to the credits and including a short end credits scene usually used for humorous purposes. It's generally light content that doesn't require that much of time investment to get into, but I do appreciate that the animation is pretty much on the level of Big Hero 6, which is to say it looks really, really nice. It was clearly a series that doesn't require amazing visuals, but they decided to go for those anyways, and I do appreciate that it looks like it could generally take place anytime after the original film. To the point where Maya Rudolph and Ryan Potter even return as Aunt Cass and Hero, respectively. Granted, no one else from the films comes back to play their characters. You won't see Go-Go or Honey Lemon or Wasabi or Fred, but considering this is a smaller scale series of shorts, I understand why they didn't want to bring everyone back. They pretty much just bring back the bare minimum of characters that they could, and for what it's worth, I think that's all they really needed. Especially because they introduce a new patient every episode, and each one comes with their own story. An old woman who has joint pain, a guy who has a fish allergy, a girl who has to deal with her first menstruation. Yes, they go over that topic, etc., etc. And honestly, I think most of those episodes are handled well, and most of the new characters, for what they need to be for a short film purposes, are generally pretty likable in their own ways, and they all stand out in their own ways. Plus, I think they do handle some sensitive topics, like what I said with the menstruation thing, pretty well, showing that it's completely biological and that though some people can be embarrassed about it, it's nothing to be ashamed of. But really, that's kind of all there is to the series. It's it's light, fun, and generally just happens to work well if you're a Baymax fan. So that's why it's going to get a 7 out of 10. Generally good, but not essential viewing. See you next time.